Hello, my name is Josh, and I'm a watchaholic. Welcome to Horology Insanity.
What is up, my watch friends? So, check this out. Today, we are taking a look at this Seiko 5, aka the DressKX, aka the 5KX, maybe, but with the fixed bezel. I don't know. Not only does it have a bunch of different names, it also has a bunch of different model numbers. This is the SRPE61, which actually came on the NATO strap, but this one's got a strap code Jubilee on it. And another option is the SRPE51, which I believe is the exact same watch, but instead of the NATO, it comes on the Seiko bracelet. And then there's also a model number floating around that I think is synonymous with the 61, which is SBSA051. So anyway, if you're on the hunt for one of these, Google any of those numbers and hopefully one will come up for you. These should be somewhat readily available, and prices have been coming down on them, making them quite a bit more of a value proposition than they were when they were first released. Now, with that said, this video is not going to be a review video. I borrowed this watch from Shane at relative time, and there's no way that I could do a review video that is better than his. So I'm going to recommend checking out his video. We will link him in the description. He has a video on this exact watch right here. He also has a video on pairing this bracelet with this watch. Check those out. Shane has such a great channel. If you're not already subscribed to him, definitely subscribe, follow along with him. Anyway, with that, Shane, I gotta thank you again for letting me borrow this one. What I do want to do in this kind of video is, since I'm not really going to be talking about the specs or the review of this watch, I want to compare it to a bunch of different like Seikos of varying sizes and shapes, so that you can just see what this might look like on your wrist, or if you were to get it in real life, compared to what it looks like on the screen or in pictures. I will still say one of the greatest lessons learned that I've had in this hobby is sometimes you just don't know what a watch is going to look like or be like until you get it in person and get it in front of you. And above and beyond that, I've noticed things when I put watches side by side that I otherwise wouldn't have noticed had I not been able to put them side by side. So I'm a huge proponent of side by side comparisons. So what my goal is with this channel is, well, one of the goals, I've got many, but one of the goals is to help you understand what you're getting if you don't have the opportunity to see this in person. So there we go. All right, with that said, I did another video just a second ago where I looked at all the gray dials that I could try to pull together and to show you just what some variants and options look like if you're on the hunt for a gray dial. I personally love a gray dial, and I think there's somewhat of a trend going through the industry. Maybe it's just me. I'm not a trendsetter, nor am I really a trend follower, but I think there's a trend of gray dials. I think gray is kind of the new black, maybe, and it's or even maybe the new blue as far as popularity goes. Even though it seems like all the new releases announced this year, they're really trying to shove green down everyone's throats. So we'll see how well that plays off. But I think gray is a classic. I think it can be as classically well done as many black dialed watches. And so, yeah, let me know what you think down in the comment section. Do you like gray? And what do you think of my overall sentiment? I think it's here to stay, and I think it's a good thing. I really do. I think it's a good thing. So with that, check out my other video, and now we'll roll into this one. The first watch that, of course, I have to compare this to is the actual SKX. Now, this is the larger size. I'll try to throw the model number up in the thing. I have this one on a strap code Jubilee as well. I actually took the factory bracelet, the Jubilee that this came on, and I put it on my Casio Duro. And so that just happens to be kind of cross-compatible. Yeah, this is the classic SKX. This is the Pepsi variant, because you can see that it does have the blue and red bezel, and it's got like a dark blue dial on it, if you can see that, it definitely doesn't have like the sunburst or some of the beauty. And when I say beauty, I mean shine, but I think some shine is beautiful. It doesn't have the beauty that the gray dial has, but you can see the overall what they were doing. There's tons of videos out there talking about the new Seiko 5KX, these new ones that Seiko did. They basically sunset the SKX, and they're no longer actual divers watches. They turned them into a bunch of sport watches. So now they have the Seiko 5 Sport line, and they're calling these the 5KX or the DressKX. Go check out tons of other videos on those. I'm not going to get into it, mainly because I don't know that I care. If I could just be honest with you, I think I don't care. But then again, I'm gonna also reveal something now. Drum roll, please. I don't love the SKX. There it is. There's my secret. I have this watch. I never wear it. I think it's way too chunky. I like the rounded case overall, but honestly, it just doesn't wear great for me. My Zelos and other ones wear way better than this Seiko does. And I've got other Seikos, we're going to see them in a second, that wear way better than this. And so, yeah, when it comes to dive watches, I just don't get the appeal of the SKX. I don't understand why everybody just thinks it's all of the greatness. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Tell me down in the comments, am I crazy? Do y'all love the SKX? Are you mad that they went to the Seiko 5 Sports? So I would actually earnestly like to hear maybe why, because most of the people that I'm in this hobby with and that comment down on my videos are thoughtful, kind people, and I really would like to know, yeah, what makes this so great. Now, I will say this larger version is better. I tried the smaller version on at the mall one time, and I did not care for it at all. So I at least I bared well enough to buy this one and add it to my collection. The smaller version, it's smaller, like from case width, but it's the same thick chunkiness, and it just sits, I always talk about, it sits like the Leaning Tower of Pisa on my arm. And that's not a good feeling in my opinion. So anyway, this DressKX, by the way, because of the fixed bezel, and you can see, I don't know if they tried to thin it up a little bit, but it wears way better on wrist. And I kind of like the overall aesthetic better. So out of these two, if I had to pick one, it would be this one. But I know that that can be sacrilegious for some people that really adore this SKX. Anyway, let's keep on trucking through. Let me set that back here, just so if you want to take a look at it. Let me set it up there. All right. Let's keep on going. The next one I'm going to compare it to is, oh, look at this, an SKX mod. Now, my buddy Dirk had a watch like this that I want to say Random Rob built for him, and it has this beautiful dial. I want to say this is the Save the Ocean dial, but don't quote me on that because I'm not really a Seiko expert. And so I had the opportunity, let's get that bezel straightened out. I had the opportunity to buy this because this isn't Dirk's. Another person had built one exactly like what Rob had built, and I liked it, so I bought it. I will be honest with you, kind of like the Pepsi back there, I never wear this, and I don't wear it because just for me it's not that comfortable. Now, I did take it, it came on the strap code bracelet, which is what I put on that one back there. And then I had this Crafter Blue, this black whatever rubber strap that they have, and I put it on it. It came with something, I think it may have came with this watch actually, and so I swapped those things around and did it. But I do kind of like the Yachtmaster style bezel on this, and I really do adore that dial, I do. But yeah, for whatever reason, I just don't ever wear this. So this is another one, you can put them side by side, but this one right here on the left, you know, it's just kind of the same thing as the SKX. And for those reasons, yeah, I don't love it. All right, with that, let's keep on going. This is the SNZ series, and this one was the blue variant. You can see it's got the blue bezel in it. This is a mod that I had built from a guy that I met on Facebook. He does mods and builds them and sends them out, and so he built this one for me, and I was pretty thankful for that. I will say that I paid a little bit of a premium because, you know, you got to buy the watch and buy the parts, and then you got to pay for their time and then pay for shipping and all that. So here, slowly but surely, I'm going to get into modding myself, and I think that if I apply my normal level of OCD to my mod projects, then I should be pretty good shape. I think I should be in pretty good shape. But you can see that the SNZ, while it looks a lot bigger, especially because of that bezel, right, it wears very similar to this DressKX, because I think that this SNZ wears better than the SKX does. And so that's just been my experience, my 8-inch wrist. Like I said, you know, take it for what it's worth. But that's my thoughts. I wanted to just kind of show it side by side there. So that's a good one too. Now let's keep going, because this is another iconic one. Now, I don't own a true turtle diver. I have a buddy of mine who is getting ready to let me borrow one because I want to do some other comparison videos, and I've got a samurai incoming. So I'm actually going to be learning more about Seikos than I probably have ever known in the past, even though I've got a box full of them. But no, this one, it's kind of the turtle shape in the case, but it's the Seiko 5 Sports model. It does have the fixed bezel, and it isn't automatic though, so you can give it a shake and it'll get started up. But with that, you can see that the overall size, the DressKX is definitely smaller, and I think wears a little bit better. So this is another one that, for whatever reason, I don't love wearing it. I don't love the turtle case shape. I'm real curious to borrow my buddy. He's got, I think it's called a king turtle, and it's awesome. It looks awesome. I'm curious to see what it's like on wrist, but I don't know that I understand the case shape, the appeal of these, in the same way as, like, I see Doxa watches all the time and people rave about them and say that they're awesome and great quality, which they probably are, especially at their price point. But I don't understand the appeal of having a giant case like this. I just don't see it. And maybe I don't love the aesthetic, and so maybe in my mind subconsciously that makes me think that it doesn't wear as well. Yeah, I don't know. But it is nice and somewhat thin, right? And so that is somewhat comparable to the DressKX. But between these two, the DressKX wore way better for me. And yeah, that's just a couple of options. So we'll see. All right, the next one I want to show you, and this really is just a cocktail time. This is a limited edition one. It's got some weird name to it that I don't even know how to pronounce. This one specifically has the power reserve on it. But the reason I wanted to hold these next to each other is because this one on the right is called the, let's do air quotes, DressKX. Right? And so when it comes to actual Seiko dress watches, because everything I showed you back there, these are all divers or dive style watches, right? So this is an actual Seiko dress watch, or at least one of them. I've got two more in the pipeline that are going to be coming here in a second. But this is kind of iconic. You can see they use this case for all of their Seiko cocktail times. I will roll in a couple pictures of others that I have of these, and keep an eye on the channel because I'm going to have an entire video showcasing some cocktail times and some different variants and some limited editions so that you can see what the dials look like up close and in 4K. But with this one, yeah, you can see that the DressKX doesn't really look all that dressy when you put it next to a real dress watch. Now, on wrist, you know, they feel about the same. I like the way the cocktail time wears. I usually take them off the bracelets and I put them on a leather strap, and I just appreciate that. And so depending on how you want to go with that, I don't think they make aftermarket bracelets for these cocktail times. At least I've not seen them. I've only ever seen them like for the divers like this from Strap Code and Uncle Seiko. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if I'm not aware of a aftermarket bracelet that's really good condition, kind of like these Strap Codes are for these cocktail times. Let me know. But for now, all of mine live on leather straps, and yeah, you can just see the overall kind of size comparison and shape, how they differ between these two. I have to give it to the cocktail time. I do. I have to give it to the cocktail time. And so I think the overall, I like the bezel, the fixed bezel's a little bit smaller on it. It gives you more dial presence, which a lot of dress watches do, and I like that look. This one over here kind of looks like, you know, it's got that smaller dial, and all they did was take an SKX and take the bezel off of it, like the diver's bezel. The dial well, no, this dial's absolutely brilliant and amazing. So I can't do that comparison because I like the gray, but it's different, right? It would be like comparing apples and oranges. So anyway, with that, let me set this one right here. Speaking of another dress watch, this is the SARX045. And this SARX, while it's in a different price tier, in my opinion, it's also in a whole nother category of watch that Seiko makes that this DressKX honestly just can't even come close to competing with. It just can't. Now, I bring this up as to say, if you are eyeing this watch because you want a dress style watch, I would save up a little bit more and get a cocktail time, or save up a little bit more and get one of these SARX models. I also have the baby snowflake SARX model, and it is absolutely amazing and brilliant too. But like I said, they are another price tier and category, but on wrist, this SARX 045 is absolutely brilliant. This SARX 45 is so enjoyable. It's in my all-time forever keeper box, which when you've got a collection of 400 some odd watches or whatever, right? That says a lot. It says a lot, I think, that I like this so much on the standard stock Seiko bracelet. I like this watch so much that, yeah, it went into my all-time forever keeper box. So, yeah, with that, I can't say that. Well, I can't say that about any of those watches back there. And I wouldn't be able to say that about this DressKX if it were mine, even though I really do like that gray dial. All right, so with that said, notice that not only does it give you the larger dial presence, right, like many of the others do, with the cocktail time did, but the overall case shape's a little bit bigger. The thickness is very similar, and so it's definitely have a different case shape. And so this has got like that rounded off case like the SKX does, to where this has got more of a angular case, not quite like a samurai. It's almost like if they took the samurai case and made it a dress watch. That's kind of what this is like. So, but anyway, yeah, with that, SARX 045, and now on to the last one. We're going to go smaller. And this watch is becoming an icon for Seiko dress watches. This is the SARB033, I believe it is. I believe the black dial model is the 033. They make a white dial variant of this as well, which I think is the 035, but don't quote me on that. I will put down whatever the real model number of this one is in the video. But this black one here, you could see that it's like a 38 mil, so it's coming in shorter, and the thickness, it feels on wrist a little bit thinner. It definitely wears a lot smaller than this DressKX does, but you can see that other than that, like, it might have a similar dial diameter. It doesn't have as big of a rehaut or chapter ring on it, and so that maybe tames down the SARB a little bit more than the DressKX. And then of course I've got it on this like collar rab leather strap, but this one actually wears really well. Now, I don't wear it a ton because it's a little small on my 8-inch wrist. I actually have another one of these that I'm turning into a mod. And so I've got this one as the stock one that I enjoy wearing when I just want a clean, simple, somewhat small watch. I go with this one right here. And then my other mod project, I'll do a video on that one day. It's almost done. It's almost ready to go. And so that'll be to come. But yeah, just comparing that, I wanted to compare it here. Now, the problem with these SARBs is that when they were in production, I think they stopped production on them, but when they were in production, they were fairly affordable, meaning they were more than this DressKX, but you could still get them at a reasonable price. I don't even remember what I paid for this one, but you could get them. Now, they have both, I think, stopped production and discontinued them. And the popularity of the SARB has grown. And as a result, prices are through the roof for these Seiko SARB 033 and 035 models, but specifically this black one. The white one looks, yeah, it's, well, if I'm honest, it doesn't look great. But it's okay. Like, if you prefer a white dial watch, you might want it. But honestly, this black one is where it's at. And I think the overall popularity of the black one way surpasses the white one. And so if you want one of these black ones, economics, you're going to end up paying a premium. They're super duper popular. They cut production of them. And And so it just kind of is what it is. So I almost can't say, hey, just save up and get one of these, because you may not even be able to get one of these. Is the DressKX an alternative? Maybe, but like I said, I don't know. The DressKX, well, it's a DressKX. You know, it kind of is what it is, meaning if you like the case shape, right? You like that round case shape. If you like, for me, the winner on this one is the gray dial. It really is the gray dial. I mentioned in my other video, I wish it had a pop of blue. I set it to Saturday because Saturday gives it a pop of blue, but I wish it had maybe like a blue seconds hand that would match that blue on the Saturday. That would be pretty cool. And then I also might swap out these hands. They look a little tool-ish or diver-ish to me, and I might like a cleaner handset. Like, one of the things that make this SARB look so good is that it's got some nice, simple hands. Now, I kind of wish those didn't have loom. I actually wish they would have just done sword hands like the Grand Seikos have, you know, the Dolphin style hands. But anyway, that's a knock on this one. But on this one here, you can see they're very SKX-ish. Let's actually get this back over. And it doesn't lend for a dress look. And so I might change the hands on this DressKX. But other than that, this is a pretty fantastic watch. I am glad that I borrowed it. And thanks again to Shane for lending it in, because I'm so glad that I got to experience it. But with that, we'll call this one to a wraps. Until we talk again, my friends, please remember what really matters. And that's not watches. Keep the insanity sane.